Well, it's a reminder that you need to be ever vigilant, with issues like this. Your hope is that, as Commissioner Stern said, our hope is that that problem is limited to one individual. But we, for example, will sit down with our athletic directors in 3 weeks, late in mid-August, and we'll talk about what our program is and whether we ought to reinforce our program. The NBA has a significant program in place, and nonetheless, this event occurred. So, ultimately, it amounts to trust and honesty and integrity, and the relationship that we hope our people have to the game, to each other, the pride they take, and we will reinforce all of that in addition to some other steps. But obviously, it's something that is of concern to everybody, as it should be, and let's hope that it's limited to one person and that we can all take a look and make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure it doesn't happen again. Well, it's really, thank you, but I think really the credit goes to our presidents and chancellors and athletic directors, our coaches, and our kids. I think we all realize that the only conference that could stop the SEC from being the preeminent conference in the country was the SEC. And so if we looked closely at what we did, if we looked at areas of compliance, if we looked in the area of diversity, if we looked in the area of academics, if we looked at all those areas that we needed to deal with and create the kind of appropriate balance that goes with athletics, then we can be what we are. So I am grateful that our league came to grips with those issues, and we have made progress. Whether we get there totally as I hoped, we'll see. As I said, there's many that slip between the cup and the lip, and I wish I had said something in 2002 so I could tell you that we're done, but we got another year to go. But I think that it's I keep talking about. I mentioned in my remarks today that there's perspective that winning at all costs is not what this is about. That ends don't justify the means, and so I think what we've also shown. If you were to ask me the question a little differently. What's the most satisfying thing that's happened to you since you've been in the league 5 years? And I would tell you that we're close to putting to rest that old chestnut that if you don't cheat, you can't win. And that's why I keep talking about winning, because we win, and we win more than we ever have, and at the same time we seem to be making progress to put that old chestnut to bed. Yes. Yeah. Well, you mean the BCS, and just to give you a little background, I saw that. I'm familiar with the article, although the sources were unnamed in that article. Yeah. So I don't know what paper it was in, but the article talked about mounting support for the so-called +1. As you know, when our presidents met in June at our spring meetings, they reiterated that they don't support a playoff, but they did suggest that I work with Dr. Kayat, who's the chancellor at Ole Miss and who was on the BCS Oversight Committee, that we work towards thinking about the potential of a possible change in format to the +1. Now, whether there are other folks support that or not, I don't know, but I've been given the charge to take a hard look at it. And the goal is to determine whether or not that is something we would want to do as an SEC. If we did, is there support for it? But I also think that it's not necessarily a panacea. If we were talking about a +1 a couple of years ago, when Texas played USC that year, you'd have said, we really don't need the game. If you're talking about 2004, when Auburn was undefeated, you damn well straight we need the game. So it's going to ultimately be a balancing, and we're going to do everything we can to try to come to some appropriate conclusion. Whether that conclusion is shared by others, we'll find out. Well, there's no doubt that it's going to be a great year, but we say that every year, and it's true. It was interesting when someone said, Coach Saban came to our league and he's won the national championship, but he joined a club. He joined a club of 3 other guys who have won the national championship, and there's some other, and you could argue that Auburn should have had a chance to win the national championship. And then there are a lot of other coaches in this league who have taken their teams and moved them significantly. I think the depth is there. Everybody's made commitments in our league. Every single institution has made commitments in the league to get better. So I'm looking forward to a great year, and our fans are too. Last year we had 6.5 million fans go to our games. We'll have hopefully that many this year. And it's going to be another exciting season. I've been in the league 5 years, and I haven't had a season that wasn't exciting so far. Yeah, you talk to some of our coaches. What I find interesting, the national champion, the focus on the national championship is one thing, and in some ways, but oftentimes when you hear our coaches and our players talk, they talk about getting to Atlanta. They talk about winning the conference championship. And I think if you talk to our teams that have been to Atlanta, if you talk to Florida last year, they'll talk about the experience in Atlanta. In our league, which our championship game, to coin a phrase, I should probably get permission, but it's the granddaddy of them all in terms of championship games. And we never want to lose sight of what an achievement that is. And what an achievement it is to go to a bowl game. When we had 9 teams last year go to bowl games. So, that's 900, approximately 900 student athletes in our league had a chance to experience postseason competition. And that's an important part. So, yes, it's fun to talk about the national championship. We sure as heck want to win it every year. But we don't want to lose sight of the fact that there are other ways to have great success in the Southeastern Conference. Well, it doesn't matter if I would, because it can't happen. And one of the tenets of the BCS is that every league has the right to determine how it wants to name its champion. And there's no mechanism for a vote to say you have to do it. So that's really an autonomous decision. Our coaches would like it. I'd be fine with it. But the reality is, it's just not going to happen. Absolutely. Yeah. It can hurt, but you're absolutely right. I think this is a fair question. Would LSU, I think it was 2003, would LSU and would Florida last year have made it to the national championship game without winning our championship game? It's a fair question. My guess is that they were significantly aided in getting there through our game. Now, you could have a team that's undefeated and goes to our game and loses, but I think, at least in my tenure, it's been a benefit. Well, you and I are going to need about an hour and a half, and I'll give you this. Reasonable people can differ on this issue. There is no doubt. You can make both sides can make an argument. My view, which is shared, I think, by most folks at the presidential level and for the SEC, is this: that we want to maintain the significance of the regular season. We value the bowl experience. We have the best bowl lineup of any conference in the country.